what else? Why else does diversity matter? We talked about physical goods, talked about ecosystem services, and social benefits. We make money, we as like the human race in different communities make money off of nature, and we call that ecotourism. So you think of tourists as like going to the beach or seeing, going to Rome, but ecotourism is kind of doing the same thing, but you're going to watch nature, watch things that are already there. For example, whale watching cruises. All you're doing is getting in a boat and watching whales, and if you don't see whales, they take your money anyway. I've never been on one, but I know they're kind of expensive to go on. But again, if you had no whales, you have no whale watching, you have no money. Another example, this is from Costa Rica. Costa Rica is probably the ecotourism capital of the world. They have incredibly pristine forests, and the government has actually worked very hard to keep their forests pristine. There is so many awesome things to do in Costa Rica. I've never been, but I want to go. So here you have a cable car just taking you through the rainforest. There's all sorts of treks, crazy awesome wildlife there, and people pay money just to go experience that. Here's a picture from the Serengeti in Africa. They make, down in this area, about $1 million a minute. Now this is on a widespread scale, looking more at the entire Serengeti region. But the amount of money they make from taking people to just go on these really awesome safaris. I do need to backtrack. It's not $1 million for here, it's $1 million worldwide. That makes more sense. So about every single minute, $1 million is made around the world. That's people staying in hotels, people booking tours, people buying food, people spending money really to support ecotourism. In Africa specifically, one lion is worth about $500,000 in tourism during the lifetime of that lion. So that lion is worth a lot more staying alive than killing it for meat or for the fur or for whatever. Now, obviously, that $500,000 isn't going to one person; it's going to many people. But still, people pay to keep Earth good and pristine, and it's really awesome to see that. And then finally, maybe the last reason, but maybe not as, scientific or might not appeal to many people, is that, it matters because it does. We don't have any ruling over the world. We don't control the plants or the bacteria or the animals. All these organisms should exist. If we can use them to eat, if we can use them to make money, if we can use them to do a service, cool. But even if we can't, they still exist, and they still have a right to exist because that's how it is. These organisms are the result of evolution. They've made it here, and who are we as humans to kill them all? Now again, this one, if you're trying to earn money or trying to gain money from the public to, save this frog or save this lizard, this reason won't get you far. But it is still incredibly important to mention. So what threatens biodiversity? We've talked about what biodiversity is. We talked about, how do we as humans benefit from this biodiversity? What threatens it? Well, the number one answer is us, you and me, unfortunately, whether we do it directly or indirectly. One way we threaten biodiversity is habitat destruction. So especially deforestation. We are affecting the homes and the habitats of these organisms, and that can lead to extinction. Invasive species, which we're going to talk about in this class. So moving species around the globe can have some very negative effects. Population growth, specifically human population growth. As our population grows, we have a larger impact on the environment and need more resources for us. Pollution. This can be air pollution, this can be water pollution, it could even be noise pollution. We affect organisms because of the things we create and then just release into the ecosystem. Climate change, which we'll talk about a lot in this course. We're affecting our climate. So What are we going to do about it? You know, how are polar bears supposed to exist if they have no habitat anymore? And then finally, overexploitation. You know, using organisms for good, but overusing them. You know, yes, we can fish, but if we fish all the fish, that's overexploitation. If we fish only a couple, then they will reproduce and come back. So that would be an example of not overexploitation. So I highlighted all the first of these words, HIPCO, kind of a shorthand to remember all the different ways that we as humans threaten biodiversity. So again, we as humans get a lot of benefit from biodiversity. We get physical goods such as lumber, food, the clothes on our back, the olive oil in our pan, medicines. We get ecosystem services such as pollination for our crops, stabilization of our coastlines, and decomposition to recycle nutrients. Countries around the world literally make a living off of ecotourism. And finally, organisms have the right to exist, but we as humans were kind of the ones in the way of all of those things.